everybody. Hello, thank you for coming to our sellers seminar. We are going to get started now. Thank you for everybody for being here in person and everybody that's on Zoom. And we are going to start out. Penny needs to come up here. We need to introduce ourselves.
Hello, I'm pennyperry. Me and Katie on our team, Remax, we're platinum award winners. And we found a need that when somebody's ready to list, their house is not ready or they have questions. So we decided that this would be a good thing to get everybody on board and let you know kind of get the most money for your house.
Yeah, what to do to get ready, everything that you'll be going through. So we have gathered a group of professionals to speak with everyone, and we're going to jump right into it. Next, we have Christian Bennett, our broker, who's going to come up for a minute.
And if you have any questions, just go ahead, put them in chat. We're watching and we'll answer. And anybody here has questions after it gets done, we'll answer them for you.
Okay, stand up here.
Sure, wherever you like.
Perfect. It's better with the light over here, so. Well, I just want to thank Penny and Katie for having me here. They are amazing to work with. I've worked around with a lot of real estate professionals over the years. They are very professional, detailed, and very customer orientated. So myself, I've been in the business over 20 years, probably listed and sold over 3,000 homes. And every listing is different, but the biggest thing is just listening to your clients, knowing their needs. And Katie and Penny have been amazing over the years. I've talked to a lot of their clients, raving about them. They're very detail orientated. They go above and beyond for their clients. So just some stuff I wanted to talk about. Let's say January 2019, the average sale price in this area, let's put a little circle around us, like 5 miles, was $279,000 and took 39 days on the market to sell. Somewhat normal. Then a year later, January 2020, price was right around the same, around 275, 26 days on the market. You'll see where I'm getting in a second. January 21, 289,000, 7 days on the market. Then everything happened with COVID around that time. Everybody wants to move to Florida. So January 2022, 395,000, average sale price, 5 days on the market. Big jump. And then even January 2023, 400,000 average sale price, but 44 days on the market. Big difference in 1 year span. And then this past January, 410, price is still going up, 31 days on the market. So the reason why I want to say some of those stats, the average real estate market used to be 6 months to sell a home. We all got spoiled years ago. But that being said, everyone built a lot of equity. So you have a lot of equity, and part of our job as realtors is to preserve your equity. I think it's still a great time to sell in this market. There's buyers out there looking. Nowadays, we do recommend having your home in the best condition possible. And we have other speakers. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. And the online presence. Penny and Katie do a great job with online, with YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram. You can't be a secret listing anymore. You have to be online. That's kind of your resume. So they do a great job promoting their listings, between the open houses, the online pictures. It makes a big difference. So that's just some of the stuff I have to offer out. Is that good? Anything else you need?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, what you got?
What is the advantage of going, you know how we've got AutoCAD, we've got 1%, we've got all this. Going with an agent that does that, you know, I call them cloud agents versus a traditional brokerage.
A couple things with that. A cloud agent, not being mean, but they don't have support. They have like a little bit emoji as their broker. They can't actually go in an office and talk to someone. Having a broker, owners, and agents to collaborate means a lot, especially in changing markets. You need that support. And a lot of times those agents are just getting in the business when it's hot. they don't have the experience, and they'll be out of the business. So it's important. And also then those iBuyers, those are hedge funds. They're in to make money on the house. They're not to help anyone out. If they say that they're selling for no commit, they're going to buy your house for no commission, they still have a 15% transaction fee. So they're making money. And unfortunately, we've heard a lot of nightmare stories where they agree to the price sight unseen. Then 5 days before closing, that same company says, oh, lots changed. Now we're going to drop the price 20,000. So they were hoping the sellers get desperate and put it on to sell it less. Then they'll relist the house 50 to 70,000 higher. They're in to make it the money. They're not looking for your best interest. You're just a file number. With us and Penny, you're more than just a file number. You're a customer for life.
Any other
Good.
questions? Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
How about you?
Up next, we have Holly from Upstage to Sell.
Here.
Okay, and then you can just arrow down, you'll have your slides.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And I have a special place in my heart for Remax champions in particular, because for many of you that maybe don't know, I bought Upstage to Sell from a real estate agent in this office and another real estate agent in this office now. And so in existence in this area for quite a while, and already an established business, and took it over. It was able to continue to build on what they had already started, and continue to work alongside of them and others within this office. So it's been a lovely kind of relationship that has gone on there. But really what we do as a staging service is partnering alongside of the realtors to be able to market your listing best. So helping to prepare internally the interior of your home, whether or not you're living in the home or it's a vacant property and we're bringing in furniture. But really that's what we say is we're doing interior marketing for your home. So you said just go down in the slides here. A little bit about me. My background is actually in education, so I love getting up and talking and giving presentations. My family, I've got 3 boys, and very active in the Real Estate Staging Association, so like our trade association. And been nominated for a few awards, including this upcoming year, and then been on the board for the last couple of years as well for our local chapter. So again, what I was saying before, we really see staging as interior marketing and working alongside of realtors to be able to promote your listing and being a part of your team alongside of photographers. And we work actually very closely with Nomad to be able to move things in and out of your homes so that they're done well and your home is not damaged, and that is a smooth process for you as well. But it is not design. We are looking to make your home stand out on the market for buyers. So the idea, the goal for all of us is to get your home sold. So we want the inside of your home to look very presentable to the most amount of buyers, to the ideal client that's looking to purchase in that market, in that neighborhood, whatever the kind of demographics are for the buyers for that area. It's just kind of a few stats on staging and why it matters. On the buyer side of things, people walking through the home and buyer's agents coming potentially with new rules maybe coming out as well, like that a staged home is potentially a more appealing listing that somebody would bring a buyer through versus a vacant home. And then also, if you are currently living in the house, being able to provide those occupied consultations so that your home is prepared well, even with your stuff in it. So for buyers walking through. Typically, the stat is 85% of staged homes are selling above asking price as well. So getting over list, and then increasing the dollar value that is offered once people have walked through and going through the contract period and all of that. So our mission is to help you sell your house quickly and for the most profit. The whole goal of staging is that. And some of our services, kind of like in the continuum of services, a pre-listing consultation is kind of where we start, and that's working with a homeowner within the home, coming in and providing a consultation up to 2 hours. We walk through every room of the house, talk about flow and function and how best to use the things that you have in your home. We always say, like, we like to shop your house as much as possible and use as much stuff in your house. And then we can supplement with other things from our inventory if that's needed. So that would be considered an occupied stage. And that would be us bringing in stuff to kind of complement what you already have in your home. And then a vacant stage is obviously a vacant property that needs some inventory in it and some staging materials to make it stand out. So it's just not a vacant property. And then this is just some packages that I was offering for today for our for realtors, and then for occupied or vacant staging. And then I think if this is going out again, those would still be active for anybody going forward. And then there's my contact information. So
Do you mind having any questions?
Give us a quick guesstimate on staging house. So let's say bedroom, master bedroom, living room, kitchen.
yep, for price points.
Yeah, just for price points, like kind
Yep.
of how much are we talking? Are we talking thousands of dollars to do this?
So for just the pre-listing consultation, that's $250 is our standard rate. And typically a lot of realtors will cover that for their clients, and that's the walkthrough of the home. If we return with occupied to do an occupied staging, it varies pretty greatly, because it could just be like art and accessories all the way up through like, hey, they need a dining room table and chairs. So generally you're starting at like $750 all the way up through like thousands of dollars. But a vacant stage is usually like the starting bottom price point is like $2,200. So that's, your typical like 2-2 condo that's got like one little small dining space, one living space, and then as you get up in higher price points of houses as well, like the furnishings that we're using are a little nicer, where we want to make sure that we've got better art so that it makes sense with the house. So we've done everywhere from, like $150,000 little condo up through a $7 million house. So like we've done kind of the gamut of price points on homes, and obviously we want to make sure that we're appealing to whoever the buyer is going to be. So the price point on the staging obviously varies depending on what that looks like as well. So, and how much stuff we have to bring in and how much we have to use the movers. So, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you are going and walking through the people's homes, do you recommend if they should paint or do things like that?
We can, yeah, yep. So if we are brought in early enough that there's time for that, if it's a month or two out and they've got some time to make some of those bigger renovation decisions, and get contractors in and all of that, we can definitely make recommendations on those types of things. Another thing I was going to say is we really do see ourselves as part of your marketing team. And so we are very active on social media and push out all of the houses that we stage. We're very active in networking groups and whatnot. So trying to get more eyes on your property, and the majority of people that follow our accounts are realtors or other, buyers and homeowners in the area that are looking to either buy or sell. So, yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if this is a question to you or more to Katie, but from a buyer standpoint, because we're in the midst of all of that right now, buying and selling.
Yep.
We find it easier to look at a house that doesn't have any furniture in it, because then we can visualize our own furniture in that house.
Yeah.
But what you're suggesting is that you take a vacant house and furnish it with a few, not maybe the whole house, but
Mhm.
pieces. Is that accurate?
Yes, you would be in the minority of people that can visualize it with your stuff in it. You are in a positive way because you can walk through those properties that other people are like, I don't know how I would use this space. How would we set this up with our own stuff? Or oftentimes people see spaces as much smaller than they actually are. And so they'll walk into a space that they think, oh, I can't fit my king size bed in here, or I can't fit our, sectional in this living room. So having that staging, inventory or furniture in there, they can kind of visualize what it would look like or what they could fit in the space. So
Yeah, from the realtor side of it, you would not believe the number of houses that are vacant that I walk into with people. And they go, what is this? What would I put here? And I have to say, here you would put this, and here you would put this. And sofa would go here, and you would put TV on that wall. Because most people really cannot visualize space.
Do you just go to specific counties or is it?
we're all over Tampa Bay, but yeah, we do a lot, obviously in Pasco, because we're right here. So our warehouse is right off of 54 here behind Vallarta's. And then, but we go down to Hillsborough, we go into Pinellas. We've done a little bit up in Hernando. It's like Spring Hill, but not super far, but yeah.
You obviously own the best staging company ever. What is the best movie company you've ever made?
Oh, it has to be Nomad Moving.
I was just curious.
But Nomad is wonderful and we've worked, has it been a full year and a little bit maybe? And it's a great partnership there. We also have worked with a number of photographers and that partnership there to be able to kind of make all of those kind of like accessory services to homeowners very fluid and easy. We have access to other contractors and like professional organizers or move managers, those types of people as well. So being able to give those contacts to homeowners as you're making the move is helpful and beneficial to you, hopefully to make it a smoother process.
And that was not planned. We did not know that you worked together.
Works out perfectly. And I think it's you up next.
Thank you. And up next, we are going to hear from our photographer, Shannon from Get Real Estate Photos. Down here.
Hello, everyone. My name's Shannon, like a girl, but I'm a guy. And it gets a little even, right. I mean, sometimes you don't know, but the crazy thing about it is my wife, her name happens to be Shannon as well. So yes, she's the much prettier Shannon, but it works out well. But I'm a real estate photographer. I've been in the business for 10 years. Some other things that I've done, I currently own 5 different businesses, sold 2 businesses. And real estate photography, the reason I mention that is real estate photography is my passion. It's what I do. And kind of the story behind that, in 2012, I attempted suicide. And one of my, when I decided to go to therapy and get help for the depression I had, I was molested as a little kid and never told anyone about it until I was 30. And the therapist was like, you need a hobby outside of business, because that was my hobby, was my wife and I built businesses. So I picked up a camera and I had a friend who was a realtor, and she comes up to me and she's like, hey, can you take photos? I'm like, that'd be great. I'm trying to learn how to do photography. So I take the photos, I give her the photos, and she's like, these are horrible. Worst photos I've probably ever seen. But luckily, she's a good friend of mine. So she let me go through and practice and get better and get better. And it just exploded. So now I've been in business over 10 years. I personally photographed over 6,000 listings. And those 6,000 listings have resulted in close to $2 billion in real estate transactions sold. So we've worked with over 300 agents. And the biggest listing we've ever done so far is $49 million. We've been very fortunate. We've been in Fortune, Forbes, and on the cover of Southern Home Living with our photography, which has been a blessing to say the least. And we shoot multi-million-dollar listings every week, but we also shoot $150,000 listings. I've gone from a $20 million mansion on the beach to a 2-bedroom house that was selling for 150,000. And the reason I mention that is it's not just the higher listings that need professional photography, it's all the listings. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's important and how that's going to help you not only sell your listing faster, but also end up making more money for what you're doing. So a recent study was done, says professional real estate photography sells homes 32% faster. That actually was done in about the 2019 era. I think it would be actually more now if they redid that study. And one of the reasons is because of social media and how important social media actually is in presenting the property and getting views to the property and getting people into to see the property. On top of that, this was done in 2019 as well. The listings that were above 200,000 sold for $3,200 to $11,200 more than listings without professional photography. 91% of buyers actually use the internet to search listings. If you're online, you know, type in the chat, that's me, because we've all done it. When we were looking at houses, we go online. That's what we do. It's actually how we found our house. And a great story about that, the reason we got such a great deal on our house is the pictures were horrible. My wife passed by this listing over and over and over again. The listing sat on the MLS for months. When I brought it to my wife, she's like, I don't want that house. It is dingy and gross. I said, babe, I'm telling you, it's not dingy and gross. It's horrible photography. And not only that, they highlighted the worst parts of the house. It needed a little work. And it was like, let's zoom in on that mold right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like one of those pictures where you see the realtor like this in the mirror waving at you in the listings. Hey, I mean, some of these realtors are good looking people, but we want to buy the house, not the realtor. But we ended up getting a great deal because of how bad the actual photography was. So what I want to talk to you is, how do you make more money with your home, with professional photography? That's really what we're all doing here. That's what we're about. We want to sell our house. We want to get the most amount of money for it. We want to do it as fast as possible. So how does professional photography help? Well, number one, we're able to present it in a way that it looks its best online. We're able to not only present it in a way, we offer a package that Penny and Katie use that not only gives them the photos, but it gives them a website that they can present the photos on. It gives them marketing material that's automatically generated from the photos that they can use on Instagram, Facebook, now TikTok, even Reels and Stories. So they're able to market your home more efficiently because they have good looking photos that present well so that people are interested. Really it just comes down to that. And when you couple great photography with great realtors who understand that it's not just about signing paperwork, but understand that it's about marketing your home in an efficient way, then that's when the things happen. I mean, we all probably know a realtor. I mean, almost everyone's a realtor now. And we want to support Uncle Joe, but is Uncle Joe going to really know how to sell your house? And there's nothing wrong with beginning, because we all start somewhere. But home purchase or selling your home is one of the biggest investments or one of the biggest things we're going to do in our lifetime. So we want to make sure that we have the right people involved to get that done. Now, to go back on Holly's point and your point, actually, another story about my wife. When we were looking for our house, we would go into a house. She would look at the house. It'd be a beautiful house, and when she would walk out, and she'd be like, "That couch was disgusting. It's the ugliest couch I've ever seen." I'm like, "Babe, we're not buying the couch. We're looking at the house." She just could not visualize it or see it. Even the house that we bought, when we went into it, she was iffy because she couldn't see the potential that was there, because there was nothing there. There was no furniture, nothing else. So, you know, I had to help her see what she couldn't see. And that's why, you know, Holly and me and your team of realtors are so important, because we've seen this over and over and over again. So we know the things that work and how it's going to do it. Now, if you're living in your home and it's already staged and it's beautiful, what you want to do is get it ready. And I know a lot, if you talk to a real estate agent, they're like, hey, listen, we're gonna have to take down the photos, we're gonna have to move all the clutter, we're gonna have to, hide the dog beds and all that things. That's my fault. Because, I go in there, I see that, and I'm like, hey, we need to move all this stuff. So they kind of prepare you for all the craziness I'm gonna put you through when I get you there. That way when I'm there, we're able to get the pictures looking the best that they possibly can. So when you hear your realtor talking about that, it is important because a good staged home, a stage that not only looks great, but also looks like home. That's what I always tell people. You don't want perfectly staged. You want home and staged. So someone can go in there, like if they don't have the gift of visualizing, they can say, oh, I can see myself living here. And my wife doesn't go in and that couch is disgusting. So, that all works together.
Orange wall is gotta go.
Exactly. So just so you know, that's my beautiful wife right there. We've been together since she was 13 and I was 14. And somehow she still loves me. I don't know why, but she does. We've got two beautiful kids, one 18, one 9. My wife actually is a survivor of had a brain injury and had to have brain surgery. Came through seizure disorder and short-term memory loss, and now by the grace of God, she only has short-term memory loss when it's convenient. So or it works out really well. But that's kind of what's that?
What you just said about.
Yeah. No, I say that all the time.
For all of us, I'll stick up for you.
Right.
It's convenient for all of us.
Well, they call me Big Shannon, they call her Little Shannon, kind of see why. But I'll tell you the truth, she's the one that calls all the shots. Penny and Katie, they know that very well. But do you guys have any questions about photography?
What is the number one thing seller can do to get the house ready? I mean, it's make the biggest bang, besides putting the toilet seat
Yeah.
down, which is probably with a nanny guy.
Toilet seats down, fans off, but the lights on. But getting the curb appeal right is going to be great, because when someone pulls up, you want it to look it's best, right? It's that first impression. We've all heard it before. The first impressions are hard to overcome. If the outside looks bad, it doesn't matter how great the inside looks. So you want to put some effort in there, and then also decluttering the house and making sure when they walk in, not that it's as sterile as possible, but they don't see you living there. They can see themselves living there. Yes, ma'am.
I have a comment. We just went through putting our house on the market, and with Katie's help and us cleaning like crazy, she did a little bit of staging, and then we put the pictures were all ready to go, and it just loaded up yesterday morning. And I'm saying to my husband, geez, if I didn't already own this house, I would buy this house. Because it really, the pictures made all the difference. And when you're shopping for a house and you look at somebody who clearly doesn't have professional pictures, you say, well, could you not have put the shampoo away? Could you have maybe put the clothes in the drawer? Some of those pictures,
Right.
I don't want to look at this.
That's exactly right. And it's a fantastic point. And we hear it all the time. When your house looks the best right before you sell it. So, and that's the way you want it to be, because you want people to go in there and feel the way you feel about your house, just fall in love with it. I agree with that 100%.
Katie, thank you. I've gotten the lady saying that took the picture. Anna, yeah. She was great.
Yeah. Any other questions for us?
No, any other questions? No, okay, we're good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Shannon.
So next up, we are going to have pillar to post inspection, and they'll be answering why you as a seller need to know about inspections.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All righty. And then is it queued up as well, the slideshow?
Yep, just
Okay. Where are we at?
down arrow
Okay.
on the keyboard.
Oh, perfect. All right, there you go. How's it going, everyone? My name is Travis Logue. This is Danny, my father. So we've been in business for 24 years. And, well, there we go. Oh, there we go. So just a little bit about Pillar to Post Home Inspectors. We're the largest home inspection company in North America with over 600 franchisees across the country. And we're the leading in technology. So a little bit about us, 24 years in business. We've completed over 22,000 inspections here in the Tampa Bay area. In all of the franchisees, we're in the top 10, and we're number 1 in the Southeast as far as our volume goes. We're located here in Palm Harbor, and we service the Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough areas. So what we offer, there's 3 different packages that we offer for homeowners and buyers as well. And it's all to gauge what you actually need, whether it's mold inspections, infrared inspections, any kind of repair item lists. But I really want to talk about our market ready inspections. So that's our pre-listing inspection. And it's key to get a pre-listing inspection before you put your home on the market, or if you just put your home on the market. It will do a couple of things. One, it's going to eliminate any negotiating power that the buyer will have, coming into your transaction. And 2, it's going to give you peace of mind that nothing is going to arise once you do get a buyer. And I'm going to pass it over to Danny here to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Katie and Penny, for having us today. Very good. Our previous speakers, right on the money there. So buying or selling a home is, for the most part, one of the biggest investments or decisions that somebody's going to make. With that means it's extremely stressful and extremely emotional. So what our experience has taught us, the more educated that the buyer or seller is, the smoother or more successful the transaction's going to be. There was recently a study done, and it said that for every $100 that is found in an inspection deficiencies, a buyer wants $1,000 in compensation. So just by doing the little things, by shortening the list of what a home inspector finds, is going to greatly increase the ability to sell that house. The other thing is, like Travis said, eliminating the surprises, whether the house needs a roof, and then that could be pre-negotiated, or identifying the age of the major appliances. When I started this business 24 years ago, it was handwritten, before computers and cameras, and now 360 cameras. It was a very different market, and the home inspector was the bad guy. Now it's the insurance companies. They have kind of taken that crown, and I'm very happy to pass it on to them. But they dictate what they will insure, what, like a roof needs to have 5 years minimum life expectancy in order to get insurance. There are 5 different panel boxes that they don't insure. They're really strict on the age of water heaters now. Any water fixture, they're getting tougher and tougher on it. And so as Travis was talking, one of the things that we came up with is what we call a market ready inspection. And what that is basically a 4-point inspection. And then we go around and look at potential problems that, need to be dealt with, So what a 4-point inspection is, that's an insurance inspection, and that covers the roof, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Now, there cannot be any deficiencies in any of those 4 areas, or you won't get insurance. So it usually becomes, that's the negotiating tool. So any of those things that are dealt with and addressed with, up front, gives you a more successful closing. Like Kristen said, it's a changing market, but it's still a great market. We're still going to do our 1,500 inspections this year. We live in a great area where it's very transit. You have first-time home buyers, people going into, assisted living or nursing, families expanding, families downsizing. So, and, because of our beaches in our area, we have people wanting to come, from different areas, so it's always really good. So the more information and the more education that a buyer or seller has, the easier the transaction. Working with professionals, realtors that show up at their inspection, that are gonna be there to nip any little thing in the butt, you know, before it becomes a big issue. Because you read a home inspection, it's gonna scare the hell out of you, you know? But if you're there and say, pretty common, no problem, this is a 4-point issue, we're gonna get it dealt with, you know? And it's, so it's our experience that the less surprises, you know, we hate being the bearer of bad news, but you know, that's what we're hired to do. But, you know, knowing upfront what you're walking into, you know, makes all the difference in the world.
So a couple of things that we shared with you, and they're in the envelopes, and I believe they're in, Katie passed them out online as well. So one of them is a sheet that we just got handed to by Citizens Insurance, and it's all what insurance companies are requiring to obtain either market value insurance and or insurance at all. And Danny touched on a couple of them. You know, one is the 5 years of life expectancy. There's 4 different panel boxes that insurance companies don't like. You know, there's a couple areas of plumbing that they don't like as well. Another thing that we came up with here is just a pre-list checklist that a homeowner could do just to eliminate things, small items on a home inspection, just so your house even shows even better after those pictures and after that staging, after the moving company comes and takes away your stuff. So a couple of them are just, you know, trimming vegetation away from the home, like Shannon was talking about, you know, the curb appeal. Not only is it going to be curb appeal, but you know, it's going to help the inspector look in behind the shrubs. You know, walk around the exterior of your home before, you know, an inspection. You know, look for any items that, you know, areas that need to be caulked and sealed, any minor wood rot, things like that will definitely go a long way if you can address them first before the home inspection. You know, make clear paths to major components. You know, I can't tell you how many times, you know, one of our inspectors goes in and can't get to the panel box or the air handler or the attic because either a car is parked there, you know, people are moving, so they have all their storage in the garage before the moving company comes. Clean the house before the inspection, because that's the longest period of time that your buyer is going to be in the house for before they close. So you still want to keep your best foot forward, just because like you were talking earlier, you know, shampoo bottles out or, you know, clothes that are hanging out of the drawer. I mean, that always puts a negative, you know, connotation in somebody's mind. The other one is have any documentation on the counter for the inspector and for the potential buyer, you know, at the time of the inspection, whether it be repairs, updates, renovations. It just shows pride of ownership in your home as well, and it, you know, leaves a good feeling with the potential buyer. The other one is if you know of an issue, put it on the disclosure. You know, there's been a couple of times, you know, where we get there and we say, we get up off the roof and say, you know, the roof, you know, the granule loss, there's a couple of roof leaks, it's going to need a roof. And that automatically puts the buyer, you know, out of contention for the house because they can't afford that roof, and the seller either can't negotiate that, or, you know, it's not within their realm either. So, you know, it's always key to put things on the disclosure, because what we found is, you know, buyers don't like surprises, and, you know, throwing a wrench in your transaction after you have a qualified buyer, you know, is only going to make things more stressful on you. The other one is, you know, changing out light bulbs, replacing, you know, cover plates on outlets, just so, like I said, the small things don't show up on the inspection. So it just limits what is actually on your inspection. The other one is, you know, clean and service your AC system. You know, make sure, you know, prior to the inspection that it is operating fine. You have your filters changed, just so, you know, again, that's one less thing. And the other one is jot down clear instructions for any components that's not either usually functioned or, you know, used on a frequent basis, just so, you know, everyone knows that that's operational, and a home inspector is not going to call out to get another professional to go out there and cost you money for them to diagnose when nothing is wrong. But that's just a little list that we've come up with just to help you kind of navigate your transaction.
Yeah, prune the trees away from the roof, clean gutters, things like that. When I was listening to Shannon, story, situation came to mind that was pretty funny. During COVID, when everything was fast and furious and people were buying houses sight unseen, we had this guy, never been in the house, first time was at the inspection, you know, he flies down from up north. And he walks through the house and he goes, you know what this reminds me of? And I go, what's that? He goes, one of those dating sites. I go, what do you mean? He goes, these pictures don't look anything like that. So he goes, I got burnt on those dating sites too. You know? So quality pictures go a long way. But, yeah.
But that's pretty much the ticket. Do you guys have any questions about anything?
Question. So what you're suggesting is
Mhm.
that the seller does a pre-inspection and then the potential buyer is still yet gonna do a more detailed
Yes.
inspection, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
So that there would be cost on both sides for that.
Right. So the market ready inspection is generally like half the cost of a regular inspection.
Yeah, how much?
So usually it's like 225, somewhere thereabouts. But what that does is it identifies the major components, the things that are really gonna, blow up a deal are roof, AC, water intrusion, things of that nature.
Termites.
And if you know that going in, and what, some agents pay for a pre-listing inspection, and then when they get our inspection, they either say, here's the inspection that we did, and here are the receipts for the work that we've had all of these things remedied. So it shows that they're being proactive, that they're being upfront, and then the buyer still can elect to get their own inspection. But it's much better to know upfront what is going to show up on an inspection rather than to, taking the house off the market because you're under contract, you're waiting, and then all of a sudden the inspection comes. And then now you're back to square one, and now you have to disclose everything we found. So it just makes the transaction a lot
We've
smoother.
had that experience before.
Yeah, and it's
The
not,
inspection came back, it's like, there's no way in heck we're gonna buy this house.
Right,
right.
yeah. And like I said, a home inspection can be scary to read, because we have to, document everything, and, but
So the other question I had was.
I'm married.
Oh.
All right, good. Oh,
That's why I can't take them out that often,
Now, the other question I had was I guess your premium package, or
Mhm.
maybe it's the plus package. Does it include that wind mitigation 4-point of the roof?
So
The 4-point?
we do offer those, but that is an add-on.
Right, that's an additional inspection specifically,
okay.
yeah. So a lot of times the age of the home is gonna dictate what type of inspection you need.
I was gonna ask that.
The wind mitigation, that gets you potential discounts on your homeowners. That
Right.
really doesn't factor in the, the condition of the roof or anything like that. It's the geometry of the roof, how the roof is attached to the structure, if it's nailed off, if you have any hurricane protection, shutters, impact windows, things like that.
Yeah, so that inspection really doesn't pertain to a seller. It really is
Right.
only a buyer or somebody
Right.
trying to obtain, insurance.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're experiencing now is the potential homeowner, the home. That's what I'm thinking of, the homeowner's insurance company wants to know. Do you have the roof? Is it wind mitigated?
Sure.
Yeah.
For like terminology.
Everybody
Do you
should have a
full
wind mitigation, yeah.
Inspection done.
Yeah.
Which we've got that scheduled tomorrow, and I think the inspector's gonna do all that. But that's gonna tell whether we get a discount to citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The wind mitigation will determine the amount of discounts you get. And then the 4-point just tells the condition of the
So they were
formation.
saying something about the age of the house, and you just mentioned that the age of the house will likely dictate whether there's
With-
gonna need to be something done with the roof to tie it down or whatever, because if the house is built in 1982, there's a chance that doesn't have the tie down what it's supposed to have, right?
So you're gonna have the tie downs for 1982. It's just
Yeah.
what kind of tie downs do you have? That's
Right.
that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sweating. this
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, the wind mitigation is the easiest one. That's
Yeah.
that's the one that's easiest. So you're
Right.
you're good there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have
All
any
right,
questions?
Any other questions? Good deal.
All righty. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And let's see. We didn't. Up next, we have Nomad Moving.
Well, I got questions for you.
Wait until I'm done and we'll see. I kind of went with more storytelling on this one versus giving information on moving because there's so much that goes on with a move. But yeah, I'll be ready for you. No, so I just want to thank Penny and Remax Champions for inviting me here today. I really do appreciate it. I like to think of myself as a laid back, fun loving guy. But I do take it seriously when people are referred to me, when people put their trust in me for moving their belongings. I'm going to be talking about the importance of working with a good moving company. That's what I'll be doing. I'm going to start off with a learning curve and the evolution of my own personal experience. So in 2011, I worked for a moving company in this area. I'm not going to say the name of it. By now it's changed names multiple times because of how bad they are, but we'll call them Queens Moving. Put that together, but all right, we'll call them Queens Moving for right now. And it was a wild ride. All right. It was only 2 days I worked there. So typically in the moving industry, you have two types of movers. All right. The most coveted is the driver. It's like the unicorn. Everyone's looking for a good employee nowadays, and you have to have the right credentials. Moving, it's a tough industry. I'm not going to lie. So to be a mover, you have to have a valid driver's license. It's got to be in good standing, right? And then there's the helpers. For my first day, I was the helper. So I went out with a driver, and I got in the truck with the driver who did not have a valid driver's license in good standing. He did, however, have a suspended license.
Oh, good.
I had a valid driver's license. I don't know why they didn't have me drive, but that was just kind of what we were doing that day. So we headed off to do a move in Tampa. While driving, the driver started to roll a blunt while driving a box truck down 54 and proceeded to smoke almost the whole thing during the ride to Tampa. This is I didn't get into that part of the story. I did not get into that part of the story. I'm trying to keep this clean cut as possible. So, but now the notes for the job said that we'd be moving a client from a ground level home to a ground level home. Essentially only 2 stops and no flights of stairs. So we got to the first location and it was a 2nd floor apartment. Awesome. All right. I and the red-eye driver at that point introduced ourselves to the clients, and then we proceeded to do a walkthrough like you do with just about any move when you get there, just to see what you're getting yourselves into. When we got to the master bedroom, there was a king-size bed with a headboard and footboard, and it was attached with hardware, obviously. And the red-eye driver then proceeded to freak out and pretty much complain, and this is in front of the customer. I was embarrassed, and I was just there kind of at this point. But freaked out and in front of the client because he didn't have any tools. So we had to leave the apartment complex, go get tools from a hardware store, go back, take it apart. And now we're going to leave. Oh, that was the other thing. He didn't have any money or a company card, so I had to pay for the tools at this job that I'm doing. But after we got done loading up the 2nd floor, 1-bedroom apartment, so it wasn't too bad. But after we got done, the client let us know that there were 2 more stops before we got to the unload location. Awesome. So we got to the 2nd location, which was another 2nd floor apartment. Now, this is my first time really moving stuff. Obviously, all of us have done it before in like our personal life where we take care of it ourselves. But this is my first time doing it as a company where we've got to do pretty much everything that's in there. We don't have family and friends coming over for pizza and beer to help us out. So it's a 2nd floor and it's got this rickety staircase going up, and then it's got a small platform. So the worst part was taking the couch out of the apartment, hanging it over the balcony, and then having to come down with it, as that was my first time doing something like that. And the guy that I was with obviously was not very helpful at that point. He was still a little bit,
He was tired.
there it is. He was still good to go. He definitely put working on that thing. All right. But at this point in the story, I'm sure you're thinking, wow, this sounds like an amazing career, right? It gets better. So we finished loading at that location, proceeded to the 3rd out of the 4 locations. The box truck that we had, it wasn't maintained or cleaned properly. It also had another moving company's name and logo on it. So he bought the truck from another company, just kind of left it on there. And it started to smoke out of the engine hood while we were going down a busy road in Tampa. So the still red-eyed driver pulled over and called the owner of Queens Moving. The owner talked the red-eye driver through the process of fixing something with the brakes. However, this would require special tools, which we didn't have, and he didn't have any money, so I got to buy more tools for this company I was working for the first day. We were able to get the truck up and running though. We get to the third location. Thankfully, it was on the first floor, is going into a storage unit, so pretty easy to put in over there. Now we started the day at 7 a.m. in Newport Richey. It's now 4 p.m. We started bringing all the items up to the final location, which was on the third floor. With about a quarter of the truck remaining to unload, the driver began whining and moaning about his back, which it's going to happen, but I felt it was a little excessive. But I would like to make it a point right now that unless you are some kind of psychopath who enjoys torture, it is a natural feeling to want to be finished with moving as soon as possible. Reason I say that, like most moving companies, we work on an hourly basis. And one of the most common questions we get when we tell this to our clients is, well, what's going to make you not milk the clock? Nobody wants to be there. Everyone wants to go home. I promise you. So after the whining and moaning, I let the driver know that I would take the items that I could do myself and for him to take a break and rest. Once I was done taking those one-man items up, I just needed him to help me with the two-man items and we could get out of there. So we finished up the move, got back to Newport Richey at 8 p.m. Remember, this is my first day. I worked one more day at this company the following day, and it wasn't as bad as the first, but still what would be described as a poo show. At that time in my life, I was not in a good place financially. Luckily, not long after that, I was able to get a great job opportunity working out of state doing title research. That job paid for a hotel and stay. I didn't have any bills or payments to make or anything like that, so I was able to save up my money. And after talking to one of my best friends about starting a business, I decided that what I would do is start up a moving company. It's easy, right? Yeah. All right. So yeah, I thought it was easy. I figured if they could do it and stay in business as long as they were, I could make a lucrative business opportunity out of it and treat people better, employees and also customers. So here comes the learning curve. So almost exactly 12 years ago, I bought a 26-foot 1993 GMC Top Kick box truck. I bought it from the U-Haul dealer in Tampa off of 60. I literally made it 500 feet out of the U-Haul dealer and the truck broke down on me. Yeah, that was awesome. This will be a recurring theme for the next year and a half of being in business until the truck finally broke down in West Palm Beach, its final time. R.I.P. Bessie. The truck literally broke down more than it ran. That is not ideal for moving items from one location to another. We made it work though. It's one thing of being in business is either you make it work or you don't. So we did our best to go ahead and make sure that we took care of everything as best as possible. Now, as of today, we have a fleet, but it's not acquiring trucks that's the hard part of building a moving company. The hard part is having good employees, having good people. So we had subcontractors for the first couple of years, but as soon as we were able to afford workman's comp, payroll taxes, and anything else that came with it, we evolved to have employees. Most moving companies don't have employees. A lot of times they don't even have some contractors. They have day laborers, right? So most of the time they have a main guy or a couple main guys and pair them up with a day laborer and then pay under the table. Pretty much like what I was doing for the couple of days when I worked at the other moving company. That's kind of how it got started, is essentially my buddy Drew, he called me up and said, hey, do you want to make some money tomorrow moving stuff? And I said, yes. So that's how most moving companies pretty much operate, and they get people to go in there and move stuff for them. So now having employees is a step in the right direction, but it's still not the right answer to creating a good moving company, right? I still don't completely know the answer, but I've been moving in the right direction for years. We have 13 employees and no one has been with us less than a year. We don't just find bodies to go out there and hopefully mess up not too bad. So we have people that want to be here and we have people that we want here. Not everyone is perfect and not everything goes 100% of the time, but it's how things are handled afterwards. It has been a constant improvement of what things are to what I want them to be. It has always been in my nature to want to help people. I believe this is why when I took the Harry Potter test recently, I would have been in Gryffindor, I believe. It was a family thing. This is what they told me after I did this. And I am not comparing myself to Harry, but I may be a Hagrid or a Dumbledore. And that tangent is over. And it's been years that I've been trying to convey that I only want to work with other people, though, that want to be helpful. No one wants to work with someone who is always miserable. I've done it before. It's terrible. We all know an Eeyore, right? And I frequently mention that, we have a pretty strict no a-hole policy at Nomad. I say pretty, it's a very strict policy. So moving furniture in Florida during the summer is hard work and it's exhausting. I'm sure we've all done it at some point, whether it's one piece or our whole house. But if you see any of my coworkers moving furniture, they make it look easy. And it is. As much experience as these guys have, it's second nature for them. And they have developed cohesiveness when it comes to moving a piece that two people need. So at this point, our guys have been with us so long and they know what they're doing. They don't have to say anything to each other typically. They just go up, they grab the piece together, they know exactly what to do when they're moving it. So now people move. Oh, skip the part. I'm sorry. The hard part is human beings. That's what I wanted to touch on. For the longest time, I tried to put into words something that I knew, but I didn't know how to express. Then finally, one day it hit me. We're not just moving things, we're moving people, right? So people move for a variety of reasons. The best reason in my personal experience was moving when I bought my first house. Best feeling in the world, right? We were a family of 4 at the time, and it was the best feeling. The worst is my personal experiences is when I was renting a house from my parents and it was getting foreclosed on. So we had to move into my parents' home with our 1-year-old son. Then right after that, that house got foreclosed on and we had to find a rental property within 10 days. Now, those are my personal experiences, but at Nomad, we have dealt with just about every possibility underneath the sun. So you've got divorces, you've got a death in the family, you've got empty nests, you got downsizing, upsizing, you name it, we've done it. And a huge part of the service that we provide is with these humans that are trying to move is communication. So that's what we really drive home. That's what I've always drove home in life and in business is just keeping in touch is very important. Especially as we grew. So as we grew, that's when it got harder because you have to stay ahead of that curve and make sure that you're not lacking in the service that you provide someone. One thing that I really pride myself in when talking about communication is we do not sell our service. We don't. We provide information and are not pushy when it comes to booking. Most moving companies our size have a salesperson or a sales force and get commissions. We have one beautiful and wonderful woman in our office that handles everything. And I did ask her to proofread this, and I hope I earn points because of it. After getting estimates for our clients, we send everything in writing. We create an account for them, and they're able to use our software to access that account at any time. There are some good moving companies in the area. There are. Let me stress that. We work with a couple really good ones. I have in the past until they went out of business. Unfortunately, there are a ton of bad moving companies in the area, and many are just awful. I've seen a lot of companies start over the 12 years I've been in business. I've seen even more go out of business in the 12 years. We have had so many clients tell us horror stories about their past experiences. When choosing a moving company, do as much research as possible, but always use your gut. And just know with Nomad, we will always provide the best service for the best price. So what do you need moved? That's it. That's my thing. Yeah.
You ready for the question?
Oh, you in the back. What you got?
So we've moved a few times and we have had zero luck with every single mover we've had. The primary issue is they come to assess how much stuff we have.
Mhm.
And they don't assess it properly.
Mhm.
And every time they have to either make a second trip or bring a second truck,
Mhm.
which of course is more costly.
Yep.
Instead of assessing it correctly the first time around. So that's the thing we want to try to avoid this next move that we have. And the other thing is you touched on communication and the last mover we used, terrible communication. It's like, I'm the customer, I'm asking. I really don't want to wait 2 days for a return phone call. I understand you're busy. I'll leave a message. But why do I have to wait 2 days for a return phone call? That drives me crazy.
Are you talking about like a weekend or a weekday, 2
I
days?
don't remember.
Okay.
Oh,
with-
Saturday and Sunday because you're busy, you're working, but that's. The point is, it's expensive to move.
Mhm.
And it's hard work. We appreciate that it's very hard work and, it's usually worth the money. But when you have to add on to the cost because you didn't do your job right to begin with,
Mhm.
that's a problem for me.
Yeah.
So are you the one that comes out and assesses how big the truck has to be and what that's gonna look like, or is there other people involved in that?
Oh, well, it just all depends. So I do in-home estimates, but we also have other people in the company that do in-home estimates. We're pretty good at just doing it over the phone. Now, we do offer a free in-home estimate, and if we don't feel comfortable with so if a client calls up and they say, hey, we're looking to move and these are the facts of it, and it doesn't seem straightforward to us, we recommend us going out there and taking a look at it in person.
I remember 2 moves ago, the guy said to us, how many chairs do you have? Because we're up to like 20 now. We have a lot of chairs. Somehow we've acquired.
Oh, all right.
But he ended up making 2 trips.
Yeah,
Cost us more money
right.
and all of that. I mean, I appreciate he needs to be paid for his work. But
Yeah.
can we get the estimate done right the first time?
Well, that's what it is. If we think it's going to be close to another truck, we'll let you know, look, this is your price based on one truck. If everything doesn't fit, this is going to be your price. So we do more like a best case, worst case scenario.
I have another question. Oh, I know. Well, that's a question. If something gets broken, you assess the value of that item and pay the cash, or how do you do that?
We just pretend like it never happened.
Yeah.
No. This is a great question because this is what it is. So to be licensed in the state of Florida, you have to have an IM number, interstate movement license number. For that number, you have to carry cargo coverage. Cargo coverage only covers 60 cents per pound per item. Quick math tells you that's ridiculous. So now if it's something that we could take care of, we always work with our customers as best as possible. However, if you have something that's of extreme value, something that you're really concerned about, then we recommend that you take out third-party insurance. Now, you do have these other companies that say, we'll give you full coverage on everything. How much do you think they're going to argue that that was already broken if you say that something happened? So what we do to nix that is say, we have 2 companies that we work with for third-party insurance, get a quote from them on what you want to put your valuation at. But no, well, that too. No, because you get the sentimental things that are irreplaceable. So if that is something that you can move yourself, move that yourself. You don't want that going in a truck. So it's kind of like an unnatural thing that if we're talking about staging, when we're doing photography and we see all that stuff in there, home inspections, when you're talking about make sure that you're not covering up stuff that you have to have us come look at, that stuff's kind of spread out in the house, right? We have to take all that stuff and put it in like a cube type shape and play this weird game of Tetris. And we're not sure how you're going to pack things up if you're doing the packing yourself. So there are so many moving parts to it, but that's really what I think sets us apart is we try and figure out what you're looking for because we don't do this. We don't move the same house with the same stuff every single time. So you have to let us know what you're looking for in the move and we do our best to deliver it to you.
Okay, so if something does get broken, let's just say for argument's sake, we don't get the third-party insurance. If something does get broken. It's a antique desk of my husband's aunt. It's an antique desk. The leg gets broken somehow in the course of moving. Do you then replace it? Which would be hard to do because it's unique.
Yeah.
Do you then assess the value of it and hope that you and us agree to that value and pay us the cash? Or do you try to fix it?
No, we're going to try and take care of it for you.
What does that mean?
Well, we're going to try and take care of it for you. What does that mean? So if the leg breaks off, we're going to put the leg back on there for you.
Okay, so you're gonna fix it.
As best as possible. Look, everyone's got their, hey, you got the leg back on there and it looks as best as possible. Then you got the people, it doesn't look brand new, even though it's an antique desk. So it just all depends, but we're going to do our best to make you happy with it. Yeah. I wish I had a better answer for you. I just don't.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But from the customer's point of view, you see where I'm coming from with this. I mean, things happen.
Well, no, that's,
What do you do then?
we try and take care of it as best as possible.
That's what I heard you say. I believe you.
Yeah. Actually, I should ask this. What do you think should be done?
I think you should try to fix it as best you can.
Oh, well, we're on the same page.
So what if I say to you, okay, need you to hold this furniture for the night.
Oh, yeah, we do it all the time. So when you have, both closings on the same day, you have to be out before the walkthrough that day. So we load you up the day before, do the walkthrough, have both closings, and then we unload later that day.
That day or the next day.
Or the next day. Yeah, but the more that you hold it overnight, the more that you pay. So we try and do, yeah, we try and do it after the closings. However, some people prefer, hey, I've had a long day. I don't want you guys unloading until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. Well, that's why we hear horrendous experiences all the time, and I feel like after this, I'd like to hear all of yours. Because you got some stuff to tell me.
Really do not hear all my horror stories.
Okay. Oh.
I have seen moving trucks out in the parking lot, literally where people move themselves. We work in title, so they
Yep.
come here to close. And I remember I walked out there one time and I was like, it was an old van, you know, like in the 1980 vans where, hey kid, you want some candy kind of vans. And
Jeez.
they had kids and they had 4 pit bulls, and I love dogs. I'm a dog, but they had 4 pit bulls in the van. And I'm like, you have furniture on top of this van. And they were going to like South Carolina or somewhere, probably Arkansas, I don't know. But I was like, you can't put those kids in that van. They were putting kids under like 7. And I'm like, what do I do? Because this is so dangerous, you know, and I'm like, oh. The highway patrol was gonna know that there was gonna be a van. Those kids couldn't be, I mean, it was packed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, call moving company, Jesus, what are you doing?
Yep.
That's a nomad.
Yes. I like it.
But, and I've also seen in that where the trucks, U-Hauls are sitting in there, you know, and if something goes wrong, those guys are yelling, we're leaving and we're taking your stuff, you know, I'm sorry, you're supposed to be closed and we're till 4 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my God, are you just gonna take their stuff? I'm like, call the cops, they're stealing your stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
It happened before with neighbors.
They literally-
got hostage.
There's so many crazy stories that we've heard just from clients, especially when they first call up and they're like, hey, we're gonna let you know that we had a terrible experience and we're gonna tell you all about it because we don't want to have to happen again. And then they're very wary about booking with us. So like I said, we give information. We're just like, oh yeah, we just want to move you if you want us to move you. So here's our information, like. Yes, second row.
Just along the lines of services, so you guys will pack up a whole house, like, I'm looking behind you, like that bookshelf, will you do the packing of that?
Oh, yeah.
To like boxes?
Literally don't have to touch anything if you don't want to. So go and take care of it. Yeah.
And then as far as storage, is it just overnight, or will you do like longer term storage?
No, we typically work with Extra Space and then also North Trinity here around the corner. The people seem to have their best experiences with those. And then we also have portable storage containers. So instead of pods, we have no mods.
Are you just local, or do you go out of state?
No, we're just doing in-state right now. We were doing out of state, but I mean, this is pretty much our bread and butter right around here. Yeah. Good. All right.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. And up next, we have Champions Title, Esperanza and Diane.
Do you see the phone? I'm sorry. Don't fall if she trips. Hi, I'm Diane.
I'm Esperanza.
And we work at Champions Title. So once you get past all the home inspections, the photography and all that, you have your contract. So we receive the contract. We open up a file. We're going to ask you for some personal information. A lot of people, they have doubts. We need your social. We need your information to clear your title to make it ready for the buyers to own it. So we open the file, we're gonna send you some documents, send us back what we want. We search your property, make sure there's no liens, no judgments, all that stuff. And hopefully it's nice and clean and your inspection's good, the lender's good. And then at closing, you'll come here, or we could send a notary, it doesn't matter. And we do all the paperwork, we do all the recording, and basically ask for your bank information so we can wire your money so you can have the proceeds from your sale. But it could be a process if you have buyers that are getting a loan. But otherwise, if your title is, decent, no crazy stuff on it, we move right through it and pre-sign you way before the closing day. So once the closing comes, all you're waiting for is your money.
And these questionnaires that gets filled out with all the personal information, a lot of times, as she mentioned, they don't want to give you that information. They don't want to email it, and we totally understand that. We would call them, or they can call us and give it to us over the phone. Just to get them more comfortable, with their.
It's funny, and as I get older, I've been doing this. I actually started in title on 9/11, the day it started on 9/11, I was a receptionist. I started, and within a year I had my license, and I've noticed now anybody under 40, they'll be like, hey, here's my social, here's this, and I'll text it to you. They have no
They have
problem.
qualm doing
They
it.
have, and a lot of them don't know how to write cursive lately, just saying.
Tell their identity is stolen and then they're like.
What? Yep.
But a lot of them, then if you ask them for like a voided check, we need to see a bank statement or a voided check, and they're like, check? What's a check? I don't have any checks. I'm like, okay, but it's a lot of people over 40 are the ones, we're more careful. We know what's going on out there, so we try to, it's either or, but the security is we shred all our documents. And I know a lot of people worry about sending their social, their mortgage, but we do shred it all. It's in a secure portal, so it's completely safe.
Yeah. And, we wear a lot of hats, and title is just not opening up a file and looking at the contract. There's a lot of clearing to do before we get to the table. Our job is to make sure that we give them a smooth closing. It's important to us. So that's why we continue to do and try to provide as much excellent service as we can.
We have a lot of situations that come up on title that people don't understand. I had one today where I don't know why the daughter did it, but she emailed me something and I was like, we can't close the file. We can't.
At all.
It's done. There's no way we can close it. And, they come back at us and I'm like, hey, there's no way anybody can sign for this house, but so we do wear a lot of hats. We try to keep everybody happy, the agents, the lenders, the buyers, so
Right, we try to keep them updated as much as we can. It is so important. And even when the sellers or the buyers has any questions, I know they go to the agents direct them back to us, and we always try to give them the correct information. We don't sugarcoat it. We make sure that we give them all the as soon as we find out something, we make sure we let them know. It's just how it is. We don't hide anything. If we can't close the file, we're not gonna close the file. Just, simple as that. So,
and if you have a nice, clean, mortgage, we try and get the seller side done at least a week before the closing. So that way your side is done. If you're buying another home, we can wire the funds right to that title company. You don't have to wait. It could go straight there, but we try to get that part done so you guys can focus on when the movers come.
that's right. Or the photographer, or
I was gonna, you guys touch on wire fraud.
yes,
Wire fraud.
Just a little bit, so.
of course.
So wire fraud, if you're buying a home, the funds that you send to the title company must be a wire. And if you do not confirm wire instructions where you're sending the money, you are going to lose that money because they hijack all the emails and it will look like it's from me. Hey, those wire instructions I sent you, sorry, wrong ones. It's not me. And once that money's gone,
That's it. There's a way to get it back.
I talked to an FBI agent one time and I said, why can't you guys trace this attorney? His client lost $3 million because he did not call and say, hey, is this the routing and account number? 2-second call. That's all it is. That's all it is. $3 million. Now, of course, they go after that because it was over $1 million. But they said once it hits the bank, it goes to like 20 other different banks. So they can't trace it all. And that's a lot of money. I had one guy who actually did get fraud. What somebody emailed him like from me with fake wire instructions. He was a young kid too, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw up." He's like, "Oh my God, thank God I called you." He said, "Because my wife and they just had a baby." He said that was all the money I had, but he was saved.
I had a situation where, I handed the wiring instructions to the buyer. And I told her, do not wire anything. I just, unless I let you know. I've already given you the wiring instructions, so please do not get it from anybody else. She calls me to tell me that somebody texted her from a title company, from our title company, asking them to wire X amount of dollars, right now, and they sent her another wiring instruction. Text her, first off, we don't text people ever. So, I contacted that title company and pretended like I was her. And I said, "Hi, I'm looking for Esperanza." And they were like, "Oh yeah, this is she." And it was a guy. So, yeah, he hung up the phone. I ended up calling the cops, or I don't know if it was I don't know who I call, but anyway, so that was a while back, but it does happen and it does exist. So people just need to be more aware of it.
I think fraud is bigger in this state than a lot of other states. And they come down here right now, they're kicking up in where Citrus County, lots, vacant lots. One guy, I'm like, listen,
God,
if you
yeah.
try and steal a lot, make sure you get a man who owns one, because this is a woman and you're a man, so
Yeah,
they.
we just had one. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
So there is a lot of fraud. You have to be very careful, but everything we do is in a secure portal. The paperwork that we don't give you that does have stuff on gets shredded, so it's.
Question about the cost for a wire transaction. Does that cost come from the bank? Does it come from the title company?
Just, some title companies charge, we don't, but the bank will. It just depends.
Depends who the bank is.
For outcoming, incoming, they'll charge, every bank charges them.
I used to be in banking many, many years ago, and a wire, like not an international, but a local wire would be like $35-50 maybe. And I just saw a contract yesterday that a wire was $300.
Oh, wow, no, whoa,
I'm like, that seems excessive.
wow, that's excessive unless they're doing like 30 wires a month. I mean, usually I've heard it's $25-30 that when you wire. And I had a couple that bought a house today. They were born in 98 and 97. I was like, oh my God, how old am I kidding? But they came in and they were like, oh, we were supposed to wire the funds? I'm like, remember what we talked about yesterday? And they were like, oh, I thought we did. And I'm like, do it now. And they got on their phones and
They did what they had to do, though.
Wells Fargo,
Mhm.
5 minutes later, we had hits. She did, I think, USAA, and it took about 35 minutes.
I was thinking to myself, because it's only been like less than a year and a half since we did this dance before. And I know the wire wasn't that much, but we were working with a potential lender that wanted to charge us $300 for a wire.
That's ridiculous. Say no. Just say no.
I
No. That's ridiculous. There's fees that you cannot charge as a lender, title company, agents, and all that. So you always just hit them with it's not regulated.
Yeah, well, he's.
Yeah. $300, that's for, 6 months of wires, but yeah, the fee's usually $25-30 with the bank, so.
Have any questions?
I am freezing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring it home, Katie.
Any other questions anyone has?
No, but I'm gonna say this, I'm in the process of looking to buy a home. And I just learned so much in the time that we've spent here, so thank you guys.
Welcome. Has
Yeah,
everyone enjoyed it?
The
Online?
photo post, you guys, I went to buy a house years ago, and when the inspection came back, it was like this big. It was horrifying, so I think it's very important.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you.
online, and there's plenty of food and drinks left. Help yourself.